Since the old beta 1.8 adventure update, people have tried to find ways to get a thematic experience in Minecraft for their enchanting needs. First, it started with typical spawner farms with crushers, since it's easy to control and you could only get one type of mob to deal with, and you can punch them for their experience. That was a good idea back then, but it had its limitations. You couldn't leave it accumulate forever on your computer, or it would overload by the mob count, and you had to be very precise for when you want to come back and get the XP. Then in 2012, Panda 4994 made the first design for a fully automatic XP farm, using a silverfish spawner, dogs, and a regeneration beacon. Letting the silverfish hit you would make the dogs kill them, and when you ever started to death, the beacon would keep you alive, until the 1.6 update, where these types of farms were broken by regeneration getting nerfed. Since then, people started using a glitch with pigmen, making it so no matter how they died, as long as they are mad, they would drop experience that the player could collect. Unfortunately, with the recent 1.9 update, most of those designs broke too, and this is why I thought it was time to look back on the old Silverfish spawner concept with everything we have in Minecraft nowadays. Hello YouTube! This is MaitreDesBlocs, and today I have here to present to you the first fully 100% automatic Silverfish XP farm for Minecraft 1.9 and above. Unlike previous Silverfish XP farm designs, this one only works in 1.9 and future Minecraft versions. And on top of that, this one is also completely AFKable, which means you can leave it on forever and gather XP as you're going to school, sleeping, whatever the heck you're doing, and you'll just leave your computer on, and when you come back, you'll have tons and tons of levels. To operate the farm, you need to make sure you have none of your usual armor on, and you'll need one of these two armor pieces. Either a helmet or a chestplate of any material with protection 4 and thorns 3 on them. And you have to make sure those are the exact levels you see right here, but these can be any material, doesn't have to be diamond. If you choose to have a helmet, you'll need one of these items. And if you choose to have the chestplate, you'll also need an elytra. So I highly recommend the helmet because it's cheaper to make and you don't require one of those elusive items. You can use a pumpkin if you use a helmet, but you need any item that can cover your head slot without actually being able to get damaged if you're going to use a helmet. And if you're going to use a chestplate, you need an elytra. You'll also need a stack of items because you'll need to fill up every single inventory spot but your first, just like this. Now, in survival mode, all you have to do is you have to enter the farm, making sure you have either your chestplate or your helmet in one hand, and in the other you need a cooked chicken. That's very important, and you'll understand why really soon. You also need your pumpkin, head, or elytra, whatever you chose, depending on what item you chose to have in your other hand, to put on yourself, just like so. To stand on the right spot, right here, this fence gate is going to prevent you from entering the farm because of it being a 2-block gap between the ceiling and the floor, and this is a half a block higher, so you cannot enter the room over there. And all you have to do now is you have to flick the lever, just like this. This turns on the farm, and you have to hold the right-click action. And here we go. You'll get fully automatic experience, and you'll start to receive some cooked chicken, because the chicken farm behind me is giving you the cooked chicken, and I'm holding right-click, making it so whenever I can eat, I will do it, just like this. And also, the game is trying to put on me the helmet, but since I have a pumpkin on my head, the game cannot put the helmet on my head, and it'll just keep the helmet on the hand. The helmet has thorns effect, and the thorns is given to the silverfish when the silverfish hits you, even if you don't wear it. Just holding an item gives you the thorns effect, which makes it so silverfish die from the thorns, giving you their experience, and because they fell such a high distance losing all their health except one heart, making it so the thorns is a one-hit kill for them. Just like that. It's random. Sometimes you don't get the thorns giving on them, and sometimes it's going to take 2 hits, but eventually they will all die, and your health never really goes down that much. At the worst case, it would drop to like 3 hearts, but then the regeneration from the eating will make your hearts go back up. And there are 2 beacons keeping you alive because you have one with resistance 2 and another with regeneration, making it sure that even in the worst cases, you will never die. And Silverfish is one of the only mobs in the game that don't have a difficulty-based damage. They give 1/2 a heart of damage to the player no matter what level of difficulty the game is on. So this farm will work in all difficulty levels just the same. Except peaceful, of course, because Silverfish cannot spawn in that. This farm is pretty fast too, with about 45 levels given per hour from the Silverfish dying by the Thorns effect, and you should be able to do around 5 enchantments after level 30 with the experience. There are 2 designs you could build into your world for this farm. The first design is your regular spawner with all the spawning spaces, and this requires the removal of the end portal. You can have 241 spaces at maximum, eliminating the spawner itself and the glass block above it, while the other one is with the end portal still inside of it, and you lose 1/4 of the spawning spaces. Exactly 66 spawning spaces will be lost, reducing the amount of 241 to only 175 spawning spaces. Now, while this farm isn't the easiest to build, the materials required to build it are kinda cheap. This is all you'll need to build the entire thing. You'll need the beacons and you'll need the blocks to build the beacons. Those are the most expensive items that you'll need to build the entire farm. Everything else is right here, and these don't have to be iron blocks. These can be any type of blocks that are solid and opaque, and that mobs can spawn on. Anything like that you can build with these over here. This can be anything. I'm just using iron blocks as an example. You need a lava bucket, some eggs for the chicken farm, and you need all of these material right here. And if you want to remove the end portal on top of building the farm itself, you'll also need these materials. You'll need a dragon egg, and you need an additional number of pistons and 1 extra redstone repeater. And that is all you'll need. And I suggest now we are going to get into how to build it. So the first thing you'll need to do if you attempt to build this farm is find yourself a stronghold. There are 128 strongholds inside of your world, and they're pretty easy to find. All you have to do is get Eyes of Ender. These can be created with a blaze powder and an ender pearl. And once you have a couple, you can just throw them into the air, and they'll point you towards the nearest stronghold. And they have a chance of either dropping as an item once you throw them, or they will break at a very rarely chance. So you have to bring a bunch. But once your Eyes of Ender throw yourself into the ground, just like this, when they start doing that, that means you're just above the stronghold. And there we go, that one broke. So eventually, it should go straight down. And that means you found your destination. So what you have to do, you just have to dig down. And without taking long, eventually you'll start seeing the stronghold that you were looking for. Come on. Mossy stone bricks. There we go, that's the stronghold, and now we're inside of it. Now, once you have ventured into the stronghold far and deep enough, you'll finally find the portal room, as you can see right here. This is where the Silverfish spawner will be. And this is a tough situation, because you'll need to make sure that enough is lit up that no creeper is going to come behind you and blow that spawner up if you're going to work into that room. So if you think the stronghold is pretty much safe, you're ready to take on that room. And the materials recommended that I would say you should bring with you are a diamond sword with sharpness 1, or an iron sword with sharpness 2, or better. It could also be beam of arthropods 1 and 2, respectively. A couple arrows, a bow with at least power 1, a diamond pickaxe or any pickaxe with silk touch. If you can get yourself that would be good. Some good food, a good enough set of armor, a shield, some blocks the Silverfish cannot enter, and that could be wood, endstone, sandstone, sand, dirt, whatever you can imagine the Silverfish cannot enter. They can really just enter stone stone types, stone and stone bricks. So anything else would really work, and a water bucket. If you have all of that, you're ready to take on this room, and when you'll enter, the silverfish will start spawning pretty quickly, and it's almost impossible to prevent them from spawning because of the light levels into the room being first dimly, and second, they can spawn in light levels 12 or above. So if you're going to come in here, very quickly you're going to see those pesky little silverfish coming and start to attack you, just like this. But you can one-hit kill them with a diamond sword with sharpness 1 or better, and that is really good because they don't call out their teammates and they won't break blocks and get around and attack you everywhere. And if you can take this room on with just this, what you'll have to do is you'll have to start blocking the spawning spots of the silverfish. They can spawn 4 blocks away from the spawner in every single direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Also make sure that you put the water and get rid of those lava sources, just like this. And that you should be good with that. You don't really need to worry about the silverfish hitting you. It should not damage your armor, and if you have too much problem with them, you can just hold your shield, and they won't be able to damage you whatsoever. And your shield won't even get damaged. I mean, how cool is that? But what you have to do is you have to continue blocking all the spots for these guys to spawn to make a 9x9 around the spawner. So what I recommend doing is just doing this. Start making a square, just like so. Go a little bit higher like this. Oh, hi. And you can also one-shoot them with a bow with these enchantments on. So you can just continue doing this until you have a square around the spawner. You also have to make sure it's 1 block above the spawner, because it can spawn 1 block above the block level as a spawner and 1 block below. But you have to cover all of these up with the block they cannot spawn into until you have a 9x9x3 centered on the spawner. Now that that's done, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. This is exactly 9x9, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 5th one, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here are the same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is the 5th one, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put a glass block here so you can see the spawner, and it's exactly 3 blocks high, and it stops right here at these portal blocks. It leaves this out of it. And you should see this in your design too, because every single portal room is generated the same exact way. So this is going to go just like this. Obviously, there's going to be eyes in different spots in the portal, but you'll have these pieces of portal outside of the room. And it's going to stop directly at the wall here, and there's going to be a gap of 1 right there. And once that's done, you should not hear any more silverfish. Just to make sure that you kill them all, drop down here and see if there are any that come here. And if you don't hear and kill them all, you should be all fine with the silverfish inside of this room. And once that's done, what you have to do next is to expand the area. You'll have to expand the area because you want to be able to build a farm into it. I recommend using a pick with silk touch in this because some of these blocks are going to be silverfish monster eggs, and those will be recognizable because when you punch them, as you can see here, you'll be able to destroy them with your fist. While a regular stone block will take this amount of time, a silverfish monster egg is not going to take long at all. If you have a silk touch pick though, mining this will not cause the silverfish to pop out. And if you don't have silk touch, it's okay too. You can just smash it and kill the silverfish after it spawns. But be careful to kill it 1 hit, or else you might create an infestation over here. But if you want to keep it under control, a silk touch pit is a very good asset. And once you have one, you'll just have to mine up these walls. And to expand the room generally, I would suggest maybe 5 blocks around the spawner in all directions. And you can start removing also the blocks below the portal and the blocks where the lava pools were over there, and expand the entire place. Now, if you're like me while building this, you're probably going to think to yourself, this is taking a terribly long time. Want a remedy to that? No problem. From the box you just created, go towards the exit of the end portal room. 1. And this is level to the spawner, by the way. Level, middle, side of the exit. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from this block, you have to go 11 blocks down. So 1, 2, this is the second where I'm standing my feet here. That's the third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And right here, this is where you can build the beacon. And why that specific spot? Because that's the spot that the beacon will be used in the final farm design, so you will never have to move it, which is pretty convenient, I would say. If you can just build your beacon right here and put haste 2 on there while you're digging, you should be able to insta-mine if you have an efficiency 5 diamond pickaxe. Just to make sure I explained that clearly, the block that I showed you, 5 away from the spawner and 11 down, is going to be the middle block of the last level of the pyramid, and you'll need 4 levels. The 9x9 level is the last one. That's going to be 7x7, 5x5, 3x3. So that's the block that I showed you, and you put the beacon on top of all the pyramid. It's not going to activate because you have to make a connection to the surface. But if you mine everything up to the surface, and just in case there's going to be water in the way, I suggest you put a sign somewhere because you don't want to cause an inundation when you go up, but usually you would do this with ladders anyways. By taking ladders and going in survival, you would do this. Put ladders, climb up, and you would climb up, and you would shift on the ladder, put some more blocks, continue climbing up, and so on until you arrive to the surface, and your beacon will activate. You can also use a ladder you created as a way out of the stronghold by just continuing the ladder all the way down like this and do something like that. Now you have 2 choices at this point. The first one is you can use the Ender Dragon Egg to remove the end portal, and the second is you can decide to keep the end portal and work the farm around it. And for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to remove the end portal, but you can also build the farm around it, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit of time. Also, so if you're going to remove the end portal, you'll want to have some redstone lamps, some of them that you already have. And what you want to do is you probably would want to do something like this. Power redstone. And in that case, now you can remove these blocks safely because Silverfish will not spawn in those spots. And if you do another one like so, just putting some redstone lamps here, maybe even one there, connect that like that, and now you can remove basically all the blocks where the portal is to uncover the portal just like that. And I'm even going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And now Silverfish will not be able to spawn as long as those blocks are there, which is perfect to work around with the portal. So, what you'll want to do, you'll want to put some pistons just like this. Pistons are facing the end portal. When they're extended, their head will be where the end portal, above the end portal blocks. But for now, they're just going to be like this, and on this side too, and even on this side, just like so. Now to wire these up, this is also pretty simple. All you'll need is some blocks that you'll just put behind the pistons just like this. Don't worry about Silverfish spawning, that is outside of the Silverfish spawning area. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to connect it like this, and you can put some redstone wire just linking everything up just like this. And for this part, you'll have to put a block and some redstone on top of the piston, just like that. On this side, you can just connect it all the same way. Doesn't have to really be precise. We're going to remove all of this later, and you'll have to connect it all to a central point. That can be on any side of this, just like, for example, this. And to test it out, place a torch. All the pistons should extend, and when you return it, all the pistons should retract. So that's perfectly working perfectly the way it's supposed to. Next up, what you'll want to do is to connect this to a NOT gate, and that is pretty easy to do. You just place a torch like you did before, so all the pistons are extended. And now what you'll have to do is you'll have to take a block, put it like that, and then put a repeater on top of that block. And connected to this repeater, you'll need to make a little space. You'll need to put another repeater facing like that with a torch like this, leaving a gap, with a block below the gap. So if I place a block here, just like that, the pistons will go, and if I remove the block, the pistons will go again. That is working perfectly as it is supposed to. Next, you'll have to place a torch next to that missing block there, and you'll have to place a piston. This is going to be pretty hard to place, just like that. There we go. With another piston on top of it, facing upwards, just like It's pretty easy. It's pretty hard to manipulate pistons like that. There we go. And perfect. Now what you'll have to do is you have to connect some wire from this up to the top piston. So just do a diagonal thing like this, and some redstone on top of that should do the trick. And on this, you'll have to make one tick pulse to the left, one tick delay, to another piston going like this. And then the redstone can just connect just like so. So if you place a block in the middle of those two, and this will be pretty loud, I better turn my block sounds down. If you place one like that, it'll go back and forth basically. And this is a design by Panda showing how you can detect when your chunk becomes a lazy chunk. Because when your chunk becomes a lazy chunk, the falling timing of the falling sand will be instant. So when the pistons will go back and forth, the falling sand will immediately fall into this spot over here and trigger the pistons going in. Retracting into themselves. So what you want to do is you want to take your dragon egg, put it on any of the pistons, and you'll have to make sure that there is a block below every single of these portal frame blocks. Now what you'll have to do is you'll have to put your render distance to 2, like that, and you'll have to move a little bit far away from this. I recommend you going maybe making a tunnel or something, but you'll have to get a little bit away enough that you'll make the farm become in a lazy chunk. I think that's good to go. Let's go back. And one of the portal blocks has been removed, replaced with a dragon egg. And now to snag this thing back, you'll just have to right-click it or whatever. It'll spawn somewhere. Then you can just do the simple trick of placing a torch underneath and letting it pop. So there we go, you get it back. You snag it back into survival. And then you would place it on the next one. Well, after extending the things again. So what you have to do to reset it, you take back the sand. You replace the sand again. Then you place the dragon egg on the second. You go into your tunnel, then you go back, and this is all done in render distance 2, and the second portal block has been removed. And you'll have to do that with every single of these portal blocks. And then you can just take your sand again, place it back, put the ender dragon egg again, and repeat until all the end portal blocks are gone. There we go, now all the portal blocks are removed. Just a quick note about this. For 2 things that it can happen that will make this not work. First of all, on a server. If you're on a server and the server render distance is set to a number, your client render distance will not change what the server will load around you, making it so the 2 chunks will not really help in any way. It'll be 16 or 32 or whatever, and you'll have to go a lot further away. But you can still do it if you just walk further away for the server render distance to put this into a lazy chunk. Second thing that might make it not work if this is in your spawn chunks, because the spawn chunks are always loaded and never become lazy chunks. So basically, don't bail this farm into your spawn chunks if there is a stronghold there. But apart from that, this should work all the time. And now what you can do, you can just snag all of this back, and you will need the materials from this for future parts of the farm. So you can just snag this all up and take all the redstone again and just destroy all of this and all of this. For the removal of the pistons and stuff, it's a little bit more complicated if you don't want silverfish spawning. So you can remove all of this part because this is outside of the silverfish spawning. But for the lights and stuff, I suggest you would fill up every single block below the lights and every single block that you can fill up. For the pistons, you can fill them up pretty easy if the lights are still there, and these ones too. But to make it safe for the light removing, you need to make sure you're near all the lights that you're going to remove, because mobs from spawners cannot spawn closer than 5 blocks away from you when they spawn. So if you just do one by one like this, even without the lights being on, you should be able, and by this point you basically just did it all. So there we go, the spawner is completely portal-less, and now you can start building the actual room about this thing. Now, next part of this is probably going to be one of the easiest parts you'll have in building this farm. You'll have to take some redstone lamps, and you'll have to put a redstone lamp above every single block of the 9x9 room for the spawner. And if there isn't a glass block above your spawner already, I suggest you put one right now, because you'll have to have that at some point in the future of the farm, and it's better to put it now than later, so you just put that right now, and just put a redstone lamp basically above every single block of the top row of the spawner spawning spaces. And you'll have a 9x9, so 81 lamps in total above the spawner, and you'll have to cover every single spot, kind of just like this. Now, to light up these lamps, you'll want to put the light source, or whatever, the line of redstone that's going to wire up to these lamps at the back of your farm. And the back of the farm is going to be the opposite side to where the portal room entrance was, where your beacon is. So on the back side, you'll want to put some redstone just like this. You'll put it like I'm showing the pattern right here. Well, an easy way to understand this, you'll make a square inside, like on the, not on the outside ring, but on the inner ring after that. So on all this, you want to put a square of redstone lines just like this. And there we go. And now you'll want to put some redstone inside. From the middle block over here, facing your beacon, you'll want to put redstone like this. Up to 4 blocks. No, wait. Can it? Yeah, 4 blocks. There we go. And you'll want to put a redstone wire like this, like this, like this, and like this. And now what you can do, you can just take a lever for now to test it. And if you turn this on, all the lights should turn on just like this. You can also, if you want, you can just cover everything up with redstone. But this is the cheapest way to do it, and wire every single lamp in the same manner. You can leave that light over there, and now that the lights are up, you can start removing these blocks. And you can basically remove all the blocks, and Silverfish will not spawn since they can't spawn with this light level. So you're safe to remove all the blocks, but make absolutely sure you start from the top blocks. If you just go, oh, look at this, I'm going to remove, let's say, this block. A Silverfish could spawn in there, as you can see, so make sure to not do that. You'll have to start with the blocks on top and work your way down, because it lets the light go down as you mine, just like this. And you can remove all the blocks, make sure to not smash the spawner, and you should be fine with the room. Now it's wall building time. What you'll want to do is you want to put a ring of blocks around the lights, and this can be any block that you want. It doesn't have to be iron blocks. But for tutorial's sake, I like to use iron blocks because that's something people recognize a lot, and it doesn't really look bad in farms anyways. So iron blocks like that, or whatever block you decided to use, to put a ring around the lights, and now you'll have to make some walls. And the walls will be exactly 12 blocks high, and this will be the 12th block. So that's 12, 11, 10, 9, and you'll have to go down 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. So you have to make sure that the walls are going to be 12 blocks high up to this height. This is going to be the 13th block of the wall. And the walls will go all around the farm. So this will be a wall, a solid wall up to that height. And this will be a wall, and that will be a wall. And everything will just be solid wall all the way to the ground, all the way 12 blocks below this block. So 12 blocks, this is the 13th one. And you have to dig down the entire floor in the middle of those walls to add that level. Something like this. I just made the walls exactly 12 blocks high, and I made a floor just to make it look better. And this is exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks below the spawner, just for you to measure it out. And the beacon base is right here. The beacon can interfere with this. The beacon, if you did everything correctly, the end of the beacon base should probably just be in the diagonal of your floor of the farm, but that is perfectly fine because that's exactly what you're actually supposed to do. And next up, what you'll have to do is you'll have to put glass on the floor, and you'll have to put glass all here on top of whatever floor you decided to put underneath, and to cover every single block of the farm. This has made it so mobs don't spawn when you're not using the farm and you're away from the chamber, because you'll need a block that mobs can't spawn on and is solid. And it can be glass, and it can be whatever block that is a full block that mobs can't spawn on, but I decided to use glass, although you could use leaves or whatever you want. I think glass looks kind of good with this design. Now, if you look from the front of the farm, from the beacon, at the left of the farm here, you want to remove this glass block, or just don't place it if you can see this in advance. I'm not explaining things in order quite, but you'll have to put something different here. You'll need a cobblestone wall, just like that, and you'll also need an oak fence gate on top of it. And you need to make sure that every single block around the cobblestone wall is a solid block, so it connects to every single spot, just like that. Now, on the same side that you went and put your cobblestone wall from the front, and by the way, you can do this if you want. You can put some slabs so you can see the inside of the Silverfish spawner, but I just did this for reasons of knowing what you're working with when you see this better. So from the middle block of this side, of the left side, the middle block, so 4 blocks that way, 4 blocks that way. Now, what you have to do, you have to dig this one block there, 3 blocks there, and 6 deep. 1, 2, 3. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll have to remove all of those blocks all the way to the end, all the way down, until you're at the bottom of the wall's height. Now, still in the middle column of this area, now what you'll want to do is you want to dig up these blocks, just like this. And once you do that, you'll want to place this block back, and on top of that, you'll want to place a fence gate of any type. Open that up, remove those blocks again, go inside. You'll have to maybe open that to get inside. And now what you'll want to do is you want to take a sign and place it like this. Once you did that, go back into it, just like this. This is going to be your farm's entrance. When you'll AFK, you'll just stand right here, close that fence gate, and you cannot move between the two, just like so. Perfectly fine, you're in the room, just like that. So that's how you're going to AFK. To put the water now, what you want to do, you want to place an extra block like this, and you want to put blocks like this. Now what you'll want to do is you want to put 1 block down, take a door from anywhere. It can be any type of door, just any door that can be opened manually, so not the iron doors, and place it like that. So you can come in and come out. And now you can place your water just like this. Next step, what you'll want to do is you'll want to place a lever right here, right behind the door, 1 block above the water. On that lever, you're going to need to connect it to some redstone wiring. So just place 2 blocks of any type of blocks, just like this, redstone like this. You can even power the lever just to make sure that is working fine. It's okay if the fence gate opens, don't worry about that. That's normal. And now what you'll want to do is you'll want to put more blocks, just like this. Block, and redstone like that. And next up, you'll want to remove 1 block from the corner of the room. Yes, it's okay if it's removing 1 block from the corner. This is the corner of the room itself. You can see this is leading to the room. That is completely fine. That is what we want. And remove another block on top of that. And now what you'll want to do is you want to go 3 as like a little staircase here. And your redstone wiring is going to emerge right there. Now back to the door, what you'll want to do is you want to place a block above the door, just like this. And from this point on, you'll want to place a dropper now, facing downwards. And this can be tricky to place. If you put a block above it, it should be pretty easy to place, facing straight down, just like that. And now you'll want a comparator leading into that dropper. And you'll want to put 2 blocks of iron, just like this. 1 hopper here, 1 hopper like that. Remove the hopper here. Place the other hopper, shift. Place it so you can connect it to another hopper, or else if you don't shift, it's going to click that hopper. To place a hopper on top of another, you have to shift and click, and you'll be able to place it, but place it facing into it just like this. Now that makes it that whenever an item is into, it'll go back and forth and activate that dropper over there, but you don't want an item into it yet. What you'll want to do is you want to place 2 droppers on top of these hoppers, and this is to reduce some lag due to the hoppers trying to check for items that can be picked up by them when falling on top of them. And you can place them in any way. You can place them like this, you can place them just like this, but I like the look of them when you place them straight down. So that's what I'm going to do, just like that. And this, I think, looks pretty good. And that is it for this part of the wiring. You also want to place 2 redstone on top of those droppers. The next step has 2 different ways you can do it, depending if your end portal is still in your room or not. If your end portal will be in the room, these blocks will be knocked out because the portal will be sitting right around here. The portal will be right here inside of your room. If you don't have the portal into your room, this is what you'll have to do. And after this, I'll show you what you do if you have the portal still there in your room. So, what you'll want to do is you want to connect this wire to the lamps up here. And this is the easiest part of the whole thing, really. Just place a staircase just like this. And then you'll want to connect it like this. And you'll want to put a repeater right there. But here's the thing. Don't turn that lever off or don't knock it until you go down here and you flick this. Because if you don't flick that, then Silverfish are going to spawn. Now this is powering all the wire by itself, so you can just do that, and everything stays powered. Now if you still have the portal, then you didn't remove the portal blocks because either you can't access the dragon eggs, or a server has some rule against it, or whatever. Don't activate the portal, just leave it like this, and your farm will probably be exactly the same as this, but the portal will look somewhere like something like this inside. What you'll want to do is you'll want to put blocks like that. You'll want to put glass blocks just like this. And this will make it so Silverfish cannot spawn on top of the portal, but they can spawn everywhere around it and below and inside of this area and everything. So you lose a little bit of spawning spaces, but that's not a big deal. What you'll want to do now is you want to do this, and you'll want to cover this up. Not that, that's not needed, just like that. Now no light from outside will be able to enter by this portal. That is if you don't activate it. If you activate it, I'm going to show you what you'll need to do. But to wire this up if the portal is there, there is also a different thing that you'll need to do. You'll need to do a little staircase way just like this. And this is the easiest way I found to make this work. And you'll want to do that and place a block right there. And now place a repeater like that, and you just place redstone, 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 and so on down like that. And now, same thing as before, when you activate this, if you knock the lever out, all the lights remain on. Now, if you also want the portal to be active, you'll lose a little bit more spawning spaces, but you can also do that. All you'll have to do is placing blocks just like this, covering every single spot that is linking the portal to this room, just like this. And you'll have to cover these blocks too, because as you can see, Silverfish can spawn there, and this, and then this, this, and this, this, and all of this will have to be removed from the spawnable spaces. And this guy's annoying me. Let me kill this little fella and die, thank you. And so that's how you have to put your portal. And now what you can do is on the other side, all you really have to do is to make an axis dropping down into the room like this. You don't have to change the wiring on top or anything. You can just activate your portal if you have your Eyes of Ender, just like this. I just threw one. And there we go. You can have your end portal right there and your Silverfish spawning room, and enter these by these blocks right here. And if you want the portal room to be a little bit bigger, you'll have to rearrange the wiring on top here. And I'm not going to explain how to do that, but I will give a world download to the other Silverfish farm world into the description, so you can see how I did it if you want to change the wiring for yourself. Or if you're good with redstone, you can just, move this redstone back and make the wiring go like this a little bit, and you can get all of these lamps out and have full access to the end portal. Now the next thing you'll want to do is to connect this wire to the wire over here that's leading into your lights. So what you'll want to do for this, you'll want to place one block just like that on the side of that redstone, another block up, and then one block down just like that, and then you'll want to connect this up by doing this little thing like that. And now you can place a redstone repeater facing out of this redstone wire and then into a redstone wire that's going to go like this, up there, and down and connect into that clock. Now it's time to work on the chicken farm part of the whole contraption. So what you want to do is you want to take a hopper and make it face into your dropper. Now you'll want to place a block outside of that like this, and you'll want to put two dispensers facing towards the hopper like this. And now you'll want to put a slab on top of this area, and this is exactly Azuma Void's Lossless Chicken Farms design. It's a very simple and compact design, and I think it works really well with this farms. It's exactly what I'm doing right here, and I highly suggest you look at his video on it, but I also have to explain how to make it fit into this farm. So this is what I'm doing right here. And you'll want to place a hopper facing into that dispenser over there, just like that. Now you'll want to place a carpet on top of the hopper like this, one glass block so you can look into the chickens, and then you'll want to put one block like that, one block just like this, and one block on top, unless you want to put the chickens into it, and in that case you'll want to do something like this with an axis on top, so you can just drop your eggs down there. And now what you'll want to do is you'll want to place a comparator facing outside of the hopper that you have over here, just like this. So one comparator facing, reading the contents of this hopper, facing into a block, facing into a torch, facing into a block, facing into a block, facing into another block like that, and remove this block temporarily to place a redstone on top of this that is powered by the torch. And now you'll want to place a block like that back, there we go, and place a torch right here. And that'll create a burnout clock just like that, and I think that's it for the chicken farm part. All you'll have to do now is to put your eggs into it. You want to put your chickens, but you need to make sure you have around 200 chickens, 200 adult chickens in there, exactly. If you have less than that, the farm will not be able to keep up with how many chickens you eat, and eventually you'll just die into it because you will not be able to eat anymore. So you'll want to throw your eggs into here until you have exactly, or around, 200 chickens. Don't worry about baby chickens being hit by other chickens, because eggs do not damage mobs when you throw them at them. So you can just basically spam your eggs into there until you have the amount you're looking for. And just to know how many chickens you have in there, you can look into your F3 menu and look at your E count. Right now there are around 10 chickens in there I'm looking at. And when I put more, you can see the E is going up slowly as I'm putting more. And you'll have to put an important redstone piece right here in the corner. Now the last thing you'll want to do to complete this entire farm is to add your second beacon. So what you'll want to do for that is you want to create a second, one extra layer to the pyramid, like this, just like this, and this will be in front of the first. If you look from the farm, why can't I go up the ladder? There we go. The farm is here. So what you'll want to do is towards the opposite side, you'll want to add another layer to the beacon, just like this, and you'll want to place another beacon. And now is the time that you want to give your beacons the right effects, but first you have to connect your second beacon to the skylight. So goodbye ladder, be seeing ya. We just have to connect that, there we go. Now both beacons will be active in no time, there we go. And now we can put one iron ingot or whatever of these items you want, and we need to make sure that the first beacon is set up to give us speed and regeneration. Speed, that is not needed, but whatever you want from here, and regeneration, except resistance. And the second one you'll want to put resistance too. And then you can pay one there and connect that, there we go, and in no time, there we go, we got speed, resistance, and regeneration. The haste will go away, And there we go. Now we got all the potion effects that we need to use this farm. If you want to not fall into the hole, you can also put some glass blocks just like this. And in case some mobs fall into your hole, you can just put some glass blocks like that. Or you can put another ladder here or something if you want to use that hole to go back up. Now take any item you want, put it into the clock. It's not going to move because the clock is stopped. And there we go. I think the farm is entirely built and you're ready to use it. So all you have to do is you have to open the door. Now, of course, you're going to be in game mode 0. And you'll have to put the pumpkin on. Fill up every single spot of your inventory with items, just like that. Put the helmet or whatever into your offhand with the head or the elytra into this, and the thorns helmet into your offhand like that. And now you'll want to take 1 cooked chicken from the dispenser, like that. Close the door behind you, flick the lever to use the farm, and admire your success. You receive cooked chicken, and you'll get experience. And everything seems to be working perfectly fine. And the beacons will keep you alive on top of the chickens you're already eating. And this farm seems to be pretty much complete. And here comes the end of my first Minecraft tutorial ever. Tutorial on how to do a fully automatic Silverfish XP farm. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope this helped. I hope this was easy to understand and to follow, and I hope I was understandable, or that I did not mess up or anything, and I hope that this was clear and helpful for someone, and yeah, this was like a practice for tutorials for me, and it was easier than I thought it would be, and it took a long time, but I'm happy with the result, and yeah, now you're ready to build this farm into your own world. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
There's an anvil here! I'm gonna name... Aw,
I didn't think you would die,